Then a few years ago, I got into art by a very odd route. I have an old house in Midtown, and one day, one of the fireplaces fell into the basement. So the tiles were from 1915. They are not the tiles you can buy at Home Depot today. And I decided to take the broken pieces and make mosaic tiles that then could be used in my fireplace. And then I started thinking about mosaics because I was practicing now. And I started taking classes at the Helene Mills Senior Center. And then I started moving beyond that, wanting to do bigger pieces, more elaborate pieces. And at the same time, I started taking classes at Georgia State, where everybody here knows that at age 62, the public colleges of Georgia are free. So I was taking linguistics classes, and I decided, well, maybe some art classes along the way. And mostly I was doing ceramic things, learning to make glazes, learning to make tiles so I could make my mosaics better. And then I saw the printmaking room and thought, I should give this a try. And I tried various other methods. I tried monoprint, I tried etching, and then I took a class in woodblock printing, in relief printmaking, and I really liked it. So I've been making prints of this type since 2023, and it's really been something that I've come to enjoy a lot. And I have one person here, Miss Clegg back there, who was my first purchaser and my best supporter. And that's very nice for someone I've known since the 7th grade to be out there supporting me. I really like that a lot. So let me tell you something about some of the prints we have here. I can start down at the end, and that's a relief print. I printed the baby in the middle, and then I've carved a lot of rubber stamps so that I could change the background any way I want. I dyed the paper because I just felt like dyeing the paper, and I wanted it to look more like a quilt. And so I dyed the paper, and then I printed the baby, and then I used the rubber stamps to change it. And each one of them looks a little different. And I've also done a smaller version, same baby, same rubber stamps, but it looks slightly different. And on this one, I finally got it's supposed to look like a quilt, so I wanted some quilting stitches in there. And I think you can see the red quilting stitches. So each one of those elements I can add or not add as I please, or change what they look like. And that's one of the things I like about relief printmaking. The second one here, and each one of mine has, I should tell you, that baby is actually my granddaughter having an absolute breakdown fit. I mean, you can see the bottom of both of her feet. And it's based on a photograph. It's not something I made up. She's going to have to pay for that at some point in her life. Now, the second one is also based on it's based on two things. A mosaic that I made, but also a photograph of my granddaughter. And that one's called The Very Best Way to Read. And I think it is. Kicked back in your chair, it's snowing or raining or something outside, and you got your favorite book. You got your shelf of your books, because she's a child. She has those books on the bottom shelf. But this is also a lot of carving, and I think you can see that I really like detail a lot. But that's what the mosaics were like too, a lot of detail. So, and yeah, that kitchen floor is based on my bathroom floor, but I like the design, so I went with it. The third one, this one is called Coming Into Focus. And it's based on a photograph of my grandson and his dad. And I like the idea of, at some point, the baby looks and says, oh, that's who that is. And so the coming into focus was, I liked the idea. And then the I always like to have some kind of quilty thing in there. So the background on the jacket and the baby's quilt are the same to show that they have a relationship. And the colors, my grandson has a grandfather in Senegal. So the colors are the color of the flag of Senegal. So that's a story on that one. And it was my first time trying to actually do faces, which is hard for me. And we have this one. This is called Ayoka's Golden Thread. My friend Karama has a daughter named Ayoka. And Ayoka's mom is from Arkansas and her father is from Ghana. So there's quilt making tradition in both of those places. So that's a golden thread that runs through her families. And they also have red clay. This is the red clay edition. I dyed this paper. I had to dye so many pieces of paper trying to get exactly what I wanted to look like red clay. But I think I got it. And so she has actually 2 golden threads running through her families, and I think this represents that fairly well. Ayoka's going off to college in a couple of weeks, so I'm very excited for her, but I'm glad that we caught her at this point in her life. And I have only one more that I want to show you. And this one is definitely based on one of the mosaics. So if you look carefully, down in the middle at the bottom, there's a little boy in his crib. And it's the end of the day, the sun is setting. His sister is very comfortable, relaxed, sleeping on the windowsill. But this child is just tall enough to look out the window at the world around him, and he's not so sure. But this one is called In Refuge. He's in a safe place. He's just looking out at a world that may not be as safe as he thinks. So these are most of the pieces I had in this particular fair. 2 I wanted to talk about were sold, so I'm not crying. I'm saying that's a good thing. If you look in the catalog, you can see the pictures of what they were.
Talked about it. I bought them.
You did? Oh, see now. Pearl, you have to go second. This woman, who does not know me since the 7th grade, actually bought my work. Okay, so there are 2. One shows a child standing in front of the aquarium, and there are fish all around. But it looks like this child is going into the aquarium, okay? And it's based on a photograph of my granddaughter downtown at the aquarium. And the only thing that's holding her in the real world is, there's no reason for it, but there's a quilt along the floor. So that's like the real world, but she is going into that aquarium world, and it's called New School. And it's New School because, we have schools of fish. And it's also called New School because I like the joke. My son went to the New School in New York. And so it's like, yeah, I like the idea. But it's a relief print, but it's reductive relief. So you're going backwards at each step. A lot of light blue, and then cut some things away, and then some other blue, and cut some things away. And I started off trying to make 10, and with relief, it doesn't work that way. I ended up with 4. And you have one of the 4. It's very excellent. The other one is really large. And it's called Back Then Over There. And it's the story of a woman who has migrated from somewhere else. It's actually based on 2 pictures I took in Guatemala. So when she looks back over her life, and she can see back then, and she sees mostly the good parts, the sun shining and all that. But there's also the parts where the earthquake made the church fall down and whatever. But all of her memories are there, and standing next to her is the ghost of the person she would have been if she had stayed. That's the story. And if you look at it in the catalog, you can see I tried to get that. And it's It's a multimedia piece. There's a tree of life printed on the paper, but all of the details are painted on plastic, and then the two parts are sewn together with embroidery thread. And that's it, as far as describing what I do and the techniques that I use. But if you have any questions, here I am. Yes.
The faces, the wooden stamp.
The faces?
Yeah.
Here?
People. Yeah.
Oh, no. This, the only stamps on here, okay, let's talk about this piece. Is it okay if I put it up here? We'll see if it'll fit up there. Okay. So this piece was done with what's called a jigsaw block. I cut the block in 3 pieces and carved them the way I wanted. I carved a lot here, I carved some here, none there, and I put the pieces back together and put them through the printing press. And then all of the part, that light blue part, that's a really big rubber stamp that I carved, so that I then, used the stamp on the actual paper after it was printed. So I can do it in different colors. And the first one I did, I thought it was great. The wall was this yellow color, the stamp was red. And after a while, I thought, those kids could not sleep in that room. It was just too lively for anybody. So then I went back and I really worked on trying to find the blue that I want and then the other blue that I wanted to go over it, so that this is a new edition. But it's still called In Refuge because they're in a safe place. Yes?
Really happy to be here with you, Carol. So excited to observe your journey.
Thank you.
Do you create the color?
Yes, that's why I went to printmaking in the first place, because I could do all the things with glazes, but I don't know a lot about color. I have a really hard time with color. Every artist that I know has gotten a call from me saying, what, does this work? Is this the right color? How can I, yeah, my neighbor also has had those calls, those texts with different colors, like, is it number 3 or number 4? I'm not good at color. So yes, I do mix the colors, and sometimes it works out, sometimes I'm not so sure.
One more question. Are you still practicing epidemiology?
Epidemiology, you can practice it all you want, but no. When I was in high school, my curriculum was called Science and Arts, and you were supposed to do both. So I've done the science part, now I'm doing the art part, but I used some of the things I learned in science, guiding me on how I do some of the things in the arts. So it works out. Thank you.